There is an African proverb that says that a river that forgets its source will soon dry up. Roots are the anchors to our existence, and forgetting them denies our individuality. It hastens the withering process. When we forget or deny our roots, we become easily anonymized, inconsequential, confused, and rudderless. Fatunla's Our Roots is presented in crisp graphics and texts. This combination of history and visuality is an unassailable communication strategy, particularly in an increasingly complex but polarized world where bile, bigotry, and racism have become attractive commodities on the market. This cartoon format packages history in small doses to be consumed in quick bites as nourishment for the soul and as GPS for the future. If you don't know where you are coming from, you are most likely to flounder. Roots are central to the growth of a tree, just as memories are to the path that we chart. Our Roots is a compelling cultural DNA for those whose histories were written by the same people who oppressed them. Paying heed to who we are, where we come from, who our ancestors were, and what they have contributed to civilization is critical to our selfhood and equally relevant to the path that we chart going forward.
I've always found Our Roots a very compelling read. It's one of the very rare books, special in its own genre, because it's using cartoon to illustrate and tell stories. Stories of great men and women who have impacted in different ways, in different fields on humanity. And Tayo has, through his publication, reminded us of some of these extremely important people in our lives that we tend to undermine, we tend to forget. I recall that a couple of years ago, the learning of history was abrogated in our school curriculum. And it was not until 2 months ago that the government of Nigeria thought it fit to restore history in the school curriculum. And I thought this was a great disservice and discredit to the intellectual resources of young men and women who, as we speak, do not even have an idea of some of our heroes past, who have in different ways made impact on our lives. And through Style works, you will see that there are innumerable men and women of different races in different parts of the world who, through their dint of hard work, belief, and principles, impacted greatly on humanity. We continue to treasure a copy of Our Roots anytime I found one. And of course, remember the likes of Tayo Fatunla, who history will judge very positively. Congratulations, Tayo.
Hi, my name is Kwame Nkrumah, and I want to say a few words about Our Roots by Tayo Fatunla. Our Roots is a subtle educational art form and a platform that's first-class art to start with by first-class artist, the well-renowned Tayo Fatunla. It is subtle in its education because it is pictorial and it's a vivid representation of Black history. But as the art form draws you in, you are then compelled to read the excellent, well-researched short takes on history and historical figures. Our Roots continues to be a remarkable platform that informs on the timeless nature of Black history with ease of comprehension. Our Roots in Motion can only be an advancement to the content-rich platform that Tayo has created. Bravo, Tayo.
Like many Europeans, I grew up thinking history was white. Okay, there was China, but that's a long way away. India, falling apart before we arrived. And Africa, nothing there was there before the European empires carved it up. Now we know better, and our history is richer and our world wider because of it. But there's still much to do. Our roots gives us a glimpse of the power-wielding and culture-shaping black figures in history, from King Pianki of 8th century Egypt and their empire to Beyoncé and Black Lives Matter. In graphic cartoon form, Our Roots illustrates how the past belongs to us all, as much as the future.
Indeed, Tayo Fatunla has gone back to the roots, and the root starts from our youths. And what he has done has been to emancipate our minds from mental slavery. Do I hear you say, Marcus Garvey? And delineate how Europe has underdeveloped Africa. Walter Rodney. And with his box and tar and his cartooning, with application of adequate technology, he has brought it down to the infancy stage of us as children, as adults, to really understand where we are coming from. I am black and proud. Thank you very much, Tayo Fatunla. You've done us proud. Keep the tar. Oh yes, we're going back to our roots. And to our roots, we are going to, like the Sphinx, rise up and rise up again. This is great. This is good education. This is good animation. This is technology at its best, easy to understand and easy to assimilate. I commend this to all our people.
When I was young, my grandmother told me very interesting stories, and I remember them because a good story sticks to a child's mind. This is what our roots does. Tayo is able to document all these amazing stories about our black heroes and heroines through generations and package that in a way that is memorable to young minds and to adults. Do you know why a pressed cartoon is so memorable? Because it tells a lot, it packages a lot in just one shot. Our Roots does the same. I think it's an excellent tool to tell our stories by a black person about black people, and I think it will help very, very many kids out there and adults alike to be proud about their heritage, about their cultures, about where they come from, where their ancestors came from, and be proud of who they are. When a tree has deep roots, its branches will spread wide.
Our roots. Looking at the fundamental contribution that our root via our cartoon illustration has been used to bridge the black family generation gap, our root demonstrates the product of their past hard work and tells the heroic tale of a brave generation that ventured into the unknown and then built a life and a legacy all over the world. Our root is now becoming a repository of information to help ground and connect us to the past and forever relevant wisdom of our elders.
Our Roots Black History details a comprehensive array of black heroes, kings, queens, politicians, creative artists. For over 30 years, this wonderful book has given us a glimpse of history from a black perspective. It should be in every library, it should be in every school. Its legacy is indeed great, and I thank Tayo so much for introducing Black history in this very entertaining, educational and inspiring way. May he continue to fly high and touch the sky. Ashe, give thanks.
Until the lion learns how to ride, every story will glorify the hunter. So says Chinua Achebe. Our Roots, a signature piece of Tayo Fatunla's expansive and expressive repertoire of social visual commentaries, replicates this African proverb so eloquently. Our Roots is rooted in Black history, from the stable of a learned lion. Yet, it leverages the lucid account of the past with evolving versions and visions. The subjects and topics it treats serve as veritable counter-narratives to colonial subjectivities, thereby decolonizing not just the mind of historically marginalized race, but further disrupting the normalized construct of civilization and history. Our Roots effectively captures Omibaba's seminal dictum, which says, "It is from those who have suffered the sentence of history, subjugation, domination, diaspora, and displacement that we learn our most enduring lessons for living and thinking." History told in Our Roots is not limited to the erudition of the text, but lusciously subsisting in the superb variated cross-action rendering that illuminates the images. This traditional artistic style impactfully projects a cross-assemblage of the past, as well as its continuum from cross-continental breadth. Our Roots has therefore grown to become our tree with enduring branches of Black historical facts, bearing juicy fruits that continue to reveal the trueness and authenticity of Black identity.
My goodness, I remember Tayo's pioneering work with the black and white cartoons of Our Roots featuring in the Voice newspaper way back in the late 1980s. You've got to know your roots to have positive hope for our futures. And Tayo's enduring Our Roots now lays out our African heritage and histories in full colour motion animation glory. It is great to see this progress and availability to new audiences. Enjoy.
Roots. Black history in motion. UK Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill's "If We Must Die" speech before Parliament in the 1940s, in which he issued a rallying cry for Britain to go to war against Hitler's Nazi Germany, belongs to Jamaican-born poet, writer and journalist Claude McKay, 1889 to 1948. Charlie Williams, 1927 to 2006. Williams was Britain's first well-known black stand-up comedian to experience mainstream success. He was also one of the first black football players in British football. Dr. Ameyo Stella Adaevoh, a physician and a heroine. Dr. Adaevoh is credited with stopping the wider spread of the Ebola virus in Nigeria in the year 2014, a fight she herself succumbed to. To many Nigerians, Dr. Adaevoh remains a heroine. The West Indian Gazette, the first major newspaper for black people in Britain, was started by Claudia Jones. Jones was born in 1915, and she is best remembered as the mother of the Notting Hill Carnival in London, which she founded in 1959. She died in 1964, preceded by Queen Elizabeth II. One of the most remarkable personalities in Africa happens to be Pan-Africanist Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, 1909 to 1972. In 1960, Dr. Nkrumah led his nation to become the first Prime Minister of independent Ghana in West Africa. With a unique style of flawless jazz singing, African-American jazz great Sarah Vaughan, 1924 to 1990, never ever sang a note twice. John Richard Archer, 1863 to 1932, was Britain's first black mayor in London in 1913. He was also the first to write a constitution to obtain black voting rights in Britain. Nelson Mandela, 1918 to 2013, was the first black president of independent South Africa. He said, "Education is the most powerful weapon in which you can use to change the world." Under apartheid, Nelson Mandela's prison number was 46664. In the early 1960s, U.S. civil rights activist Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., 1929 to 1968, led crowds of African Americans to Selma in the state of Alabama. This march was Dr. King's effort to get everyone to protest about the inequality of voting in the state and to have African Americans registered to vote. The protest march did not go unnoticed. Moira Stuart was the BBC's first black female newscaster in 2001. She was awarded an OBE for services to broadcasting in the Queen's birthday honours. Born in 1973, Harry Roselmack, at the age of 33, made history by becoming the first black presenter of a primetime mainstream news program as a news anchorman in France. This was on the 17th of July, 2006. A sporting and cultural icon, a record breaker, an activist, and a legend, Lewis Hamilton, born in 1985, is the first black driver to race in Formula One. He is also the first black driver to race for Britain. He has experienced bullying and racism and has excelled to overcome discouragement.